Man, it hurts sometimes to live this life. Some days I'd rather just run and hide. Maybe then the pain wouldn't hurt as well. Maybe then I could protect myself. But who's gonna win? Is that really living? Oh, I wish I didn't know that the answer is no, nobody would win. 'Cause I could close my eyes and pretend I don't see. I could close my mind and pretend that I'm free. But my soul knows the truth. Life means stepping back in. I'm gonna open my heart again. Man, it hurts sometimes when I've done wrong. Some days I'd rather just move on. Maybe then I wouldn't have to cry. Maybe then I could protect my pride. But who's gonna win? Is that really living? Oh, I wish I didn't know that the answer is no, nobody could win. 'Cause I could close my eyes and pretend I don't see. I could close my mind and pretend that I'm free. But my soul knows the truth. Life means stepping back in. I'm gonna open my heart. I could close my eyes and pretend I don't see. I could close my mind and pretend that I'm free. But my soul knows the truth, that life means stepping back in. I'm gonna open my heart again.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community Church's service here, the Holy Living Room. I'm Reverend G, and I'm absolutely delighted that you chose to spend this time with us. It is a special Sunday. This morning, we are also going to have a guest speaker from Planned Parenthood who will come on after my talk. It is a Generosity Sunday. It is something that we're trying out for the first time here on the mighty interwebs as our services are viral. Before we begin, um, allow me to welcome you all and light the chalice. The chalice, which is the symbol of our faith. It symbolizes that which brings us together time and again, that which we have in common, our truth-seeking nature. So I will light the chalice, and will you please say the words with me if you can? If not, just listen. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. If you have a chalice near you, feel free to light it as well to join in with us. This is what all Unitarian Universalists do when they come together. Before they begin a service or a meeting or a class, we light the chalice to remind us this is what we have in common. We may be searching, we may be relationshiping with the divine in very different ways. Some of us, not at all. Some of us are humanists atheists, we have all kinds in our midst. But there's this one thing that we have in common: we seek truth. And that's what we focus on, not on our differences, but on that which we have in common, which I believe is what this world needs today. And now I invite you to join me for a time in meditation, just so we can center before we receive the talk. Take a deep breath, find a comfortable position in your seat, uncross your legs, uncross your arms. If it is yours to close your eyes, please close them. I do close them. And then I invite you to just place your palms facing upwards, gently, comfortably, either on your lap or next to you on the chair. And just take a deep breath. And focus on your breath. Just notice the air traveling through your nostrils, all the way down to your solar plexus. Just notice your breath. And if you notice tension in your body, I invite you to release it. Wherever you notice the tension, the best way to release it is by tensing the muscles in that area and then release them. And then I invite you to notice the support the chair is giving you and the floor is giving to your chair in this moment. You have maximum support. In this moment, you have all the air you need. In this moment, you have everything to sustain you. You lack for nothing in this very moment. So just keep focusing on your breath. As thoughts appear in your mind, just notice them without judgment. Thank them for sharing their life with you. And allow them to return to where they came from. In this moment, we just focus on our breath. Focus on this present moment. No judgment, only compassion, kindness, and maximum inclusivity. And so, with gratitude in our hearts, we acknowledge that at any moment in time, we can bring ourselves back into the present moment, from the painful past, from the agonizing future, into this present moment, the only place where life is possible. And together we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as you are ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes and return your attention to this screen where our service enters your reality. and welcome back. And if you're just joining us, I'm Reverend G, minister at the Unitarian Universalist Community Church, and this is our Sunday service, coming to you from my living room. And allow me to thank Nick, who warmed us up with a very fitting song. Thank you, Nick. And thank you, Steve and Miriam, who in the background are making it possible that we come to you live, whether you join us via Zoom or live live Facebook. They are the ones in the background who are making it all possible. So my deep gratitude goes to every single one of you. What times we live in. And, you know, these times are not unique to us. As long as humanity has been around, there have been upheavals. It's the way of it, it seems. I want to talk to you about a time long ago when there was a small country that was taken over by a significantly larger one. And then the people of this particular country were oppressed badly by the conquerors. Opportunities slipped away from the natives of this particular country. They were burdened with tremendous taxes. Injustice was rampant. The nation that overtook them, policed them in ways that were unjust. The policing forces were allowed to punish the natives as they saw it fit. And so naturally, the natives of this country tried to rebel, to no avail, because the country that oppressed them was so much stronger, their army so much more, so much better equipped, that they would always put out these uprisings. So leaders would emerge over time, all with the same goal in mind: to get rid of the oppressor, to end the injustice. We can't live with injustice. It is somehow hardwired in our nature to want to buck it, to want to get rid of it. So another leader emerged, and what he did, he just went around in the country and talked to people and talked about ways in which life could be possible, in which life could change, injustice would end, and the oppressor would be defeated. And he talked and nothing changed. So once there was this big come together in the capital of this country, and he went there, and he's done so much talking. He's met with so many people and nothing changed, and his frustration was so deep. And I imagine what he did wasn't his proudest moments, but he went to this place where the forces and the operating systems of the oppressor were at full display. There were all these people who collected taxes, the people who exchanged money, and he went in there and he overthrew these tables in his anger and absolute frustration. What Martin Luther King Jr. said is, violence is the voice of those who have no power. And he did just that. He overthrew these tables, and then he took a whip and he lashed out even with that, and then left before he could be captured. You know by now that I'm talking of Jesus. You know by now that the oppressor is the Roman Empire, and you know by now that the country I'm talking about is that of the Jews. And it's happening here today. Yesterday, I too went downtown Kalamazoo and joined um, the thousands of protesters, and I was proud to be part of this crowd that was clear that we have to have justice. We were peaceful protesters, and however, around the country, there are such not so peaceful protests going on. And while I do not condone it, please hear me, I understand it. There is much going on in here. That it's compound things going on in this country. So the latest police killing in Minneapolis is just really the latest. It's not the last, it's just the latest. And we just can't take it anymore. It's maybe this is that the last straw that broke the camel's back. It all recently, I mean, everything is happening against the backdrop of this pandemic, where the inequalities have become so prominent and loud, where all of a sudden that it's so obvious that the have-nots can't even miss a paycheck because they go broke. And in this pandemic, of course, the number of unemployed has risen to levels unknown. It's historic times, and in a short period of time, so many people became unemployed. And then a couple of weeks ago, I'm losing now track. In Atlanta, Georgia, there is just one guy jogging while black and gets murdered by, again, an ex-cop. And the only reason the ex-cop is arrested is because we, the people, end up seeing the video footage of this murder. Until only the people in power saw it, they didn't arrest him. When we saw it, the arrest happens. Then there's Central Park, New York City, and there's a woman walking her dog off leash. There's a bird watcher who happens to be a black man who is asking her, please put your dog on leash because birds are hatching and little babies, the baby birds are in danger, and your dog could endanger them. And this woman knows exactly what to say. She weaponizes her rebuttal. She says, I am going to call 911 and I am going to tell them that an angry black man is harassing me. He is weaponizing. She knows exactly what she's doing. And now we know that she is a person who has supported and has given to Democrats. And yes, there's racists among us too. There's racists everywhere. And then the latest killing in Minneapolis. And you've seen the footage. Who could escape these footages that keep coming, newer footages? But what really strikes me is just the casualness of the demeanor of this policeman that's kneeling on the neck of this black man. And I don't care what he did. I don't care what happened. I don't care. He shouldn't have died. He shouldn't have been killed. He shouldn't have been murdered. And that policeman, that's what really bothers me the most. That is just a callousness. It's like, I'll kill you because I can. And there's nothing you can do about it. And it doesn't even matter what anybody says around me, that, hey, maybe we should turn him on his side, that maybe he is truly in distress, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to listen to that. And that's what bothers me the most. So I don't condone the violence, and I understand it. I understand it because there comes a time when so much talk has happened that it becomes the status quo, and those in power go on doing nothing about it because the status quo remains. Talk is cheap. So that's when people get frustrated, and then they end up lashing out because there's no impact otherwise. I have told you that I lived in communism, and it was horrible. Injustice was rampant. It went on for a very long time. And there was talk. And of course, because there was a dictatorial regime, the talkers would disappear. And eventually, it was violence. And that's what ended the regime. And it was horrible. And I wish it hadn't happened. But it's the only way that dictatorial regime could end. So also I am aware that there are other forces among these demonstrators. I am aware that there are people who want to discredit these protests. So they begin the looting, they begin the violence to discredit the protesters. And I want us to see it for what it is, that there is them, and then there are the protesters who have a legitimate reason to be in the streets, who have a legitimate reason to give feet to their voice and march and say, enough already. Haven't we sacrificed enough black people? And it is interesting, right? That the ones who are killed just happen to always be black. It doesn't happen to us, white people. And there's racism everywhere. I watched a little clip yesterday by Trevor Noah, and I recommend you watching it as well. I can't say it as well as he did, but he speaks about about society and what it means to be a society. And he says that society is basically a contract that we make with each other. And we say, okay, I respect your property, I respect your rights, I respect your life. There's a contract, a social contract that we all adhere to, we sign. And that's what makes society possible. The only way this contract and society can exist if we all respect this contract. And by and large, when it comes to minorities, Black people, we haven't respected that contract. We haven't protected those lives. The police forces that have said their job is to protect life, they become the ones who take life. And that is a problem. That is a real problem. So Trevor Noah said that the Black people who have respected this social contract have not benefited from it. So they've got nothing out of it. So something must change because society must work for every single one of us. Otherwise, we're looking at it. And all of this is also happening at the backdrop of this pandemic, where there's no real leadership on the top. There's no real plan. We don't really know what is going to happen, how, when. So it is not whether there's going to be some sort of response from the population. It is when and how will it show up, and we are looking at it. I believe, I was watching the footage on TV last night, and there are these protesters who have no weapon. All they have is just their bodies and their voice. And they're putting both on the line. And then they're faced with these militarized police. And I looked at that and I thought, that's wrong. This is, our police shouldn't look like that. The police that we put in the streets of our cities should not be equipped with that outfit that I would expect to see on the battle force in war. You can't do that against your citizens and expect that things will just be smooth. I believe that our entire police force, the philosophy of it, everything has to be reimagined, reconfigured, redone. It is not working the way it is. This is not the way to do it. They truly have to become the protectors of us who only use force as a last resort. That is not the case here. It's just not the way of it. There are countries in the world where that is the way. That would be Germany, Spain, Belgium, France, many, many European countries. That is not the case here. And I believe that has to be the case here. And then, of course, what I heard from the commander-in-chief was that he wants the police to be even tougher. And I wonder if that is maybe gasoline on fire. So this is what is happening here. And I wonder if there is something in our country, in our nation, that is trying to be born. Maybe a new order. Maybe it is our way to hold on to democracy. These marches must be allowed. They must happen. There will always be rioters. That's just the way of it. When you have, there's always rioters, and we must be able to separate the legitimate march, the legitimate protest from the riots. It is my concern that if these marches cannot happen, maybe something will be born in this country that we don't want. And if change doesn't happen, something in this country will be born that we don't want. I hope, I pray and hope and wish that all this energy that is coming up from within our people, within our citizens, leads to solidifying our democracy, leads to a society where that is just, that is fair, and it's not just for one group of people, but for all groups of people who live together in this society. It must be so. The change must come. And like I said, I do not condone the violence. I understand it. And, Unitarian Universalists have always been at the forefront of every single struggle for justice. Women's suffrages, civil rights, end of slavery. Unitarian Universalists have always been at the forefront of all these struggles for justice. And we are there today as well. I am proud of that. I am proud of that because that is principles that are lived out, where we say like every human life matters. There's dignity in every life, and it matters. We stand by our principles. We give them feet. We give them voice. It's a wonderful thing. And today, we have a guest speaker. We will play a video in just a little bit. And she is, her name is Selena Madden. She is a regional community organizer here in Kalamazoo for Planned Parenthood. And that is another cause by which Unitarian Universalists have stood. We have always supported Planned Parenthood because we see it as an equalizer. We see the value that it adds to the community, and we've always supported it. So today is Generosity Sunday, and it is the first one that we are doing virtually. So there is a link on our Facebook page, and I invite you to click on that link. It will take you to our website where there's a donate button, and everything that you donate today will support Planned Parenthood, which is a 501c3 for nonprofit organization, and that is who we are going to donate all the money that comes in today. And so this is just, again, against the backdrop of this pandemic. Planned Parenthood has been affected greatly, and not just the pandemic, but it's also the policies from above, of course. So we are supporting Planned Parenthood, and it is my hope and wish that we are indeed going through these birthing pain. And on the other end, a healthier, more just society emerges. That we can be proud to leave behind for our offsprings. It's a society that we know will enhance and will protect, and it will make life possible for our children and their children, that we leave a legacy of justice, of caring, of compassion, of love, of kindness. And maybe this is the way of it. This is the way to it. I would like to read a quote from Maya Angelou that spoke to me. She said, "You should be angry. You must not be bitter. Bitterness is like cancer. It doesn't do anything to the object of its displeasure. So use that anger. You write it, you paint it, you dance it, you march it, you do everything about it. You talk it. Never stop talking. Never stop talking. Wherever you see injustice, lend your voice to that. Talk about it. We cannot be the nation that carries the stain of murder and killing on its conscience. We cannot be a nation who believes that can be prosperous, have life, while kneels on the necks of blacks. We cannot be that nation. That has got to come to an end. Justice has to prevail, and never stop talking. And now, Steve, I invite you to please play the video from Planned Parenthood.
Hi, my name is Selena Madden, and I am the Kalamazoo Regional Community Organizer for Planned Hi, my name is Selena Madden, and I am the Kalamazoo Regional Community Organizer for Planned Parenthood Advocates of Michigan. Thank you so much for your support of reproductive health care. Today I'm going to be giving you an update on the Kalamazoo Health Center, the advocacy work we've been doing, and what we need you to do to protect access to all safe, legal reproductive health care. As I'm sure you all would have guessed, Planned Parenthood of Michigan is definitely being affected by the pandemic. Our health center has weathered some major challenges, and our hours of operations were changed for a time due to staff shortages. As of May 4th, the Kalamazoo Health Center returned to normal business hours. Yay! Family planning services are provided Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Both medication and surgical abortion services are available as well. Due to the pandemic, we haven't been able to run any healthcare advocacy programs, but we are eagerly looking forward to when it is safe to continue the Clinic Escort program that was started in September 2019. This pandemic has certainly challenged me in methods and outcomes of socially distant community organizing. When the stay-at-home order was implemented, we kicked off quarantine with a series of educational webinars from histories of anti-Chinese sentiment and histories of labor laws to quarantine, cooking, and sex trivia. From there, we expanded to a community check-in via phone banking and texting to connect with community members to local resources if they needed. Our community check-in consisted of the simple question of, how are you? We received so much positive feedback on these efforts and look forward to continuing to care for the communities that we're in. Recently, we held town halls to engage our state representatives in honest conversations around the Michigan House Democrats' COVID-19 response plan. We held a statewide town hall with House Leader Christine Gregg, who gave us a thorough overview of the plan to keep Michigan healthy and safe. Here in Southwest Michigan, we hosted a town hall with Representative Jim Hatzma out of Calhoun County. Our volunteer legislative action team took the lead on initiating productive dialogue with Representative Hatzma on the response plan. This is just the beginning of the political power that we are building this year to flip the Michigan State House. Finally, I have a call to action for you. How can you combat the awful legislation on reproductive health care and a person's right to decide what's best for their body? Join us. Become a member of Planned Parenthood Advocates to help us build political power this election year and beyond. Make sure you're registered to vote and that you can receive your absentee ballot. Call and email your state representative to support access to health care for all Michiganders, especially if folks have lost their insurance. Lastly, make sure that you're counted in the census. This is a great way to ensure funding for your community's health. Thank you for having me today, and I look forward to building power with you.
What kind of world do I want to see? What kind of world do I want to leave to my children's children? Now is the time to make up my mind. Yeah. What kind of world is this gonna be? What kind of world would be my legacy to the generations for all humankind? It's time to decide what kind of world. Will it be peaceful? Well, am I? Will it be joyful and kind? Will it be all those things a child so easily describes? Oh, will everybody have enough? Will we speak in the language of love? Somehow I'm suspecting it's all up to what you and I decide. What kind of world do we want to have? What will we be ready to start giving back to this precious place? To every young face, tell every boy and girl, what kind of world? Will it be peaceful? Well, am I? Will it be joyful and kind? Will it be all those things a child so easily describes? Will everybody have enough? Will we speak in the language of love? Somehow I'm suspecting it depends on what you and I decide. What kind of world do we want to have? When will we be ready to start giving back to this precious place? For every young face, tell every boy and girl, what kind of world? What kind of world? Whoa, do 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 do.
Wow, thank you, Nick. What kind of world indeed we want to live and leave behind. Thank you for your offerings. Thank you for supporting Planned Parenthood. Thank you for supporting our spiritual community. Thank you for joining us week after week. Even though we can't come together in person, here we are, still staying connected, coming together because we share values, because there's love between us, because we are connected in ways that are significant, important, and worth maintaining. After the service, we invite all of you, our members, to stay behind on Zoom. We are going to have our annual meeting. And I will extinguish the chalice. Before I extinguish the chalice, however, allow me to leave you with this. Do not be afraid to speak up, to act when you see injustice. For it is much better to suffer consequences for that than to live with oneself, knowing we didn't do what we could have done. So be brave and never stop talking. And so it is. I am going to extinguish our chalice now. And will you please say the words with me, if you can? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And so it is. I believe we are, there we go. I believe we ended our live